Dinosaurs, Jurassic World Dominion. Dave, I didn't watch the last Jurassic World movie, so catching up on this, I was in for some surprises, man. And not in the best way. This is a movie that is getting panned critically. I think it's sitting at like a 30% Rotten Tomatoes, but it made quite a bit of money this weekend. A lot
That's
of
right.
people came out to see it, and so I think the Jurassic franchise still going strong. But man, where did this movie go wrong?
Well, I think you just have to kind of grapple with what the Jurassic Park, Jurassic World franchise is. As you said, making a lot of money. It's the second highest grossing Universal Pictures franchise behind Fast and Furious, and it's made less movies than that franchise has. You know, Jurassic Park, obviously, Stone Cold classic, Steven Spielberg, Michael Crichton adaptation. Reputation speaks for itself as an amazing popcorn movie, a paragon of practical effects meets CGI for its time. Still amazing use of animatronics. Like, people know about Jurassic Park, right? I think it's a movie really kids get shown eventually. Like, it's really kept on in the consciousness, right? But after that, The Lost World, definitely not what people expected. Also Spielberg, also Crichton adaptation. And then from there, Jurassic Park 3, which I actually have fond memories of seeing Jurassic Park 3 in the theaters back in 2000, 2001, 2002, whenever that was. I was on vacation. I remember it pretty well, honestly, and I remember liking it at the time. But, Jurassic Park 3, The Lost World, as well as all these Jurassic World movies, none of them have been beloved by critics. They've just been broadly popular and financially successful. So I think it's just one of those things where kind of like, I don't know, kind of like the Transformers movies, like people go to these movies to see dinosaurs. So like the reviews kind of don't matter to the target audience for these films. Now, I think watching Jurassic World Dominion without having some prior knowledge of what happens in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, as you said, can present some challenges from understanding pieces of the plot. You have to know, or you'll quickly learn that the dinosaurs are out in the world in Start of Dominion, because that's what happens at the end of Fallen Kingdom. And there's a specific character that's introduced towards the end of Fallen Kingdom that figures pretty prominently in Dominion. It's a pretty serialized continuation of a story here. But on the other hand, Fallen Kingdom made like $1.3 billion, so I think they're kind of expecting that if you're going to watch Dominion, you probably watch the last one. So honestly, you're probably in a bit of a unique boat.
Yeah, I probably am. And I am probably not going to go back and watch Fallen Kingdom after watching this. I think that Dominion, I think Dominion asked some interesting questions, but gets bogged down in just like lazy script writing, honestly, and just like uh, shoehorned in nostalgia that just didn't
Hmm.
even feel like it really paid off all that much. Like, it's not like a bad thing to have Sam Neill there. I just don't really know why he was there. He's just kind of like along for the ride to be like, I'm old and I'm lonely and I want to be with Laura Dern. Okay. Like, okay, I guess we
Yeah,
really needed it in the movie. Like, even Chris Pratt in this movie, like, I get he's like the action star. I mean, the guy just like he just holds up his hand at a dinosaur like 10 times in the movie, and that's kind of it. I guess he gets like one fight scene and he gets to run around, but like I don't really know what he's doing here. Like, I
right.
don't really know what the movie's totally
Like
trying
I
to get
said,
at.
they're the quote stars of the past movies and the current movies, respectively. They're not the stars of the Jurassic franchise. Again, the stars are watching the dinosaurs.
Right.
So it's kind of whatever. It's like Chris Pratt's Owen Grady. It's not his best character. It's not really Chris Pratt's fault. Just the character hasn't had a whole lot to really do, and he hasn't really been that fleshed out over the course of three films. It is what it is. So in that
And
sense, I think Pratt's good enough for what this character needs. I don't think he has uh, crackling chemistry with Bryce Dallas Howard, but again, it's not a
no,
relationship that they put any time into fostering. So like, you don't really have to care.
right. I guess like um, I just think about like why the first Jurassic Park really worked. And coming at a time when they had much less CGI, I think telling this story, but having the practical effects that they had, that first time you like see the landscape and you see all the dinosaurs, it's really like kind of just like
Mm,
breathtaking and very moving. And you have this John Williams score that is just like all like top notch, and you're like, this is incredible. And I don't even think the dinosaur scenes in this movie really like blew me away that much. Like there's some cool, I think like dinosaurs that have you know mutated or evolved, and they have different powers, and that's kind of interesting to think about. But I just didn't even feel like that was really as gripping as some of the stuff like in the first Jurassic World when they have that like T Rex who could do all the different things. I
the
found that T
Indominus
Rex to be,
Rex.
yeah, and Dominus Rex. I found that to be a lot more interesting than some of the like mutated or evolved dinosaurs in this movie.
Yeah. So, and that's something they, I think, to like, and like Colin Trevorrow, of course, came back for Dominion of shepherding in
Mhm.
World, still being involved with Fallen Kingdom, but not directing it. His first film since he was fired from Star Wars Episode 9. And I think to Trevorrow's credit, he's at least attempted to like throw in some new ideas to this because you can't keep doing Jurassic movies if you don't stop making Jurassic Park 1 all over again. Because you just can't keep doing that. You have to find something new. So they think they've tried to like introduce, like these like hybrid, like built in a lab dinosaurs with DNA splicing and stuff like that. They've tried stuff like that. In this movie, we have this biosyn company who are kind of like an amalgamation of like Facebook and Monsanto and all these other tech things. And I think there's some i- familiar tropes, but still kind of interesting ideas there in terms of like if you're gonna throw some new flavor into like the Jurassic stuff. I thought it was pretty solid. I think the issue though is like you said is like the movie Dominion is trying to be a lot of things at once. I mean, the first hour and hour plus is like so many different genres of movie all at once. It's like an Indiana Jones movie at the end. It's an action thriller when they're in Malta. I liked it the most once we finally got to Biosyn, once we finally got to Italy and we're around like the dinosaurs in a more conventional format that, which is like their sanctuary where they live, like basically the new version of Jurassic Park here. I thought that was like the most interesting here. But the nostalgia stuff's interesting to me because bringing back Sam Neill and Laura Dern and bringing back Goldblum at like one scene in Fallen Kingdom, it's like I like seeing all of them. It's nice to see them. They're not given much of anything to do, although I thought Goldblum definitely made the most of his lines, just
Oh
being
yeah.
like classic, like hashtag Jeff Goldblum, like the complete. He's just being the meme at this point, but I really
Yeah.
liked it. I thought he's just super funny still. Uh, but did you realize? I did not realize this until after the fact that our bad guy here, Dodgson, the head of Biosyn. Did you realize that guy was in the first Jurassic Park? Because I didn't remember that. This is the guy who pays Wayne Knight the money to steal the embryos in Jurassic Park 1. Remember the scene with Wayne Knight? They're on the beach and he's like, "We got Dodgson! We got Dodgson!" This is memorable, like Wayne Knight being himself. It's like super funny. That's the
No, I
guy who
remember
is
it.
now our Steve Jobs in Dominion. I was like, no fucking way anyone remembers
Yeah,
that.
well, I realized it after I read a review on this, and they pointed that out, and I was like, oh yeah, he did look kind of familiar, but like kind of just generic bad guy.
Dodgson!
I do love that he I do love that he named his company Biosyn, which is just like the most like on the nose like evil corporation name ever. Like fantastic stuff there. Gold, like I just want to go back to Goldblum real quick. Man, he's fucking chewing on all these scenes. I love when he gets fired by the head guy, and he's like, "Before I go, I need to give an apology to all of you who have been misled." Just like the way he like delivers it, it just feels like you don't know what he's gonna say next, and it's just like kind of unhinged, but also like very much like not. Goldblum is just so great. Um, yeah, I really like his performance in this. Performances I don't know if I liked as much, like Laura Dern. I feel like she's not really given like a ton to work with other than like she's supposed to be the person kind of like propelling things full forward and like super competent, like kind of leading this through. And I think she does that, but like I don't know, like her character in the first one wasn't super memorable other than like kind of being this like motherly figure to these two children in this, and like I guess she kind of is like the grandmother to like Bryce Dallas Howard and forgetting the kid's name.
Clone Kid, yeah, whatever her name is, yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like I guess she just kind of like replicates that role, but like kind of thankless. Like Laura Dern didn't need to come back for this. I don't know.
Right. Well, and
Uh,
that's kind of the thing. It's like the nostalgia play with Jurassic was when Jurassic World came out in 2015, and the movie absolutely crushed at the box office because it was a very familiar return to the franchise, just like the way Force Awakens was a very familiar return to the
exactly.
franchise.
Mhm.
There's not strong nostalgia for Sam Neill and Goldblum and Laura Dern the way there was for like Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher. It's just not the same level of audience relationship to the character because again, audience relationship with Jurassic franchises to the dinosaurs and the spectacle
Yeah.
first. So
Yeah.
it's not quite as clean as like a thing. Although, thinking about this, it's kind of interesting to think about like Fallen Kingdom being like the Last Jedi of the Jurassic World movies, where like they actually tried to do something different. And I love the Last Jedi. I didn't love Fallen Kingdom. I actually like it less than Dominion because Fallen Kingdom just does this. It becomes like a haunted house movie at the second half, which is a cool thing to try and twist and make something new about Jurassic. It just actually wasn't that good. That was the issue. And now Dominion is kind of like your Rise of Skywalker, Mea culpa, end of the trilogy thing, where you try and please everyone and thus don't actually please anyone. It's kind of interesting to think about this parallel here. But on the other hand, like they've written themselves into such a corner with like these movies, and like I feel like why Universal? Why would they stop making these movies? These movies make so much fucking money. They're so successful, but from a plot perspective, the Jurassic Park, Jurassic World story is that book is closed. Like you have to completely reboot the shit out of this now.
Well, I'm not so sure. I feel like the introduction of Dewanda Wise and
Yeah,
Mamadou Athi feels like, kind of placing these characters who could take the helm and, do something a little bit different as like heads of the franchise moving forward. Obviously, with Isabella Sermon as Maisie, that was the character's name. The clone girl who seems like she's kind of being put at the center of this,
yeah.
but like yeah, it feels like it could also be the end of it, but I don't know. Like to reboot this again, really? I don't know. How
Maybe
many
they
times can you do this?
because like it wasn't a true reboot in the sense it was a continuation, right? And like they ended
True.
it with the original characters here for that's worth, as we've said. But maybe now you're kind of set up to make like another Transformers comparison. Like make a Bumblebee, make a smaller scale, more character
Mm,
story with just a few dinosaurs. I wonder if that's a fit for this franchise. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I think generally, like unchecked science and corporate greed, familiar themes to this franchise and films in general, but like still appealing stuff. Like to see in blockbusters. Like I like generally like the these plots as dumb as they are. Like I still find them entertaining. I enjoyed Dominion despite it being super long and super dumb. Like that's kind of why I'm there. So
Did you like the dinosaurs as much in this one?
yeah, I think that's kind of an issue, right? I think part of it's the CG. Like you just don't have like a connection to dinosaurs as much this
Mhm.
time. The whole like blue and the raptor stuff has never been my favorite thing with Jurassic World, and like I just don't like some of the set pieces I've enjoyed, but I feel like they kind of like build up a lot of this stuff with like these big fights and like the T Rex being like the anti-hero, almost kind of saving the day by fucking up Indominus Rex or
Yeah.
Gigantosaurus or whatever it is each time. It's like I think it's just like when you kind of build up to these like dinosaur fights where it's these two non-sentient CGI things fighting each other and our human characters like watching on the side and trying not to die. It's just not as compelling as they hope it is, despite
Yeah.
it being visually impressive. Yeah, like I feel like you think about like this thing about the Spinosaurus in Jurassic Park 3, which is like not a beloved dinosaur per se, but like that just had like a real like terror to it. It's like
Mhm.
I don't know what it is, but I feel like because like the environments are so CG heavy, it just doesn't quite hit the same, even though it looks good. Like I thought like Jurassic World 1 probably did the best with these CG dinosaurs the most, but yeah,
Yeah,
something about Dominion is just like it's fine, you know. I think maybe it'd be better if we didn't have such a heavy like locust theme in Dominion, which on
yeah.
itself was like a twist, you know, like this evil company trying to ravage the world's food supplies to then increase their market share. It's like, huh, not a bad thought, but kind of doesn't feel like it fits in a Jurassic World movie, you know? Uh, I don't know, like did you have a connection to these dinosaurs that much?
No, I think the one I had the most connection to was Blue, because you see him in the first movie, and there's like a real connection between him and Owen Grady in that first movie.
Hmm.
He might be in the second one. I didn't watch the one, like I said, but like
Yeah, it's the same one.
obviously something about a mother, or I guess a father. I don't know Blue's gender. Yeah,
Yeah,
asexually has a child that's taken from them. I think that's like
yeah.
compelling, and like that
Life
that
finds a way.
at the end, yeah, at the end when they return Blue's baby to them, and Blue turns around, gives like the little look, and the baby gives the little look. Oh man, that's just like good stuff. Like I feel connected to that. I think you said it right. The first Jurassic World, they did a really good job with these CGI dinosaurs. I think like that scene where and Andromedus Rex is chasing them in the little like glass spheres that they're
Hell
in, like
yeah,
roaming around.
it's a
That's
great
like a
scene.
really, yeah, really gripping, really terrifying scene. Super well like done. Action wise. There's the scene where like they're looking for the kids, and Owen Grady comes over the mountain and he sees all the dinosaurs that have been killed by Andromedus, and you're like, oh fuck, like this is really sad. Like it kind of reminds you when you see like the Triceratops dying in the first one. Like you
Yeah,
feel really like gutted. It just you don't connect to any of these scenes in the same way. Like you have that like underwater dinosaur, which I just was
yeah,
like,
the
okay, like I
mosasaur.
don't,
Yeah,
yeah, like what's going on here? You get some callbacks to some things. Like you get the raptor who has like the wings on the side of his
yeah,
face that
feathers,
kills the
accurate. They finally put
at the end.
feathers in the movies.
Yeah, finally, I was pretty happy with that. But
We've known
it's
dinosaurs had feathers since like 1995, like right after the first one
yeah.
came out, and they took this long to make it into the movies.
But it's just like hard, I think, to connect. And you think about also how dark this movie is. A lot of the action, especially near the end, takes place at night. And in the first movie, you kind of needed that, right? Because a lot of these practical effects, you kind of needed the darkness to like
Yeah,
create a sense of reality and to cover up some of the
yeah,
seams.
it's
You
heavy
don't need
filtering
that.
in some of those scenes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you don't need that with CGI. So there's something lost, I think, when you're in the dark the whole time. And like you said, it pans over to them watching this one mutated dinosaur fight a T Rex, and then this like even more mutated dinosaur comes in, and they team up to kill it together. T Rex bites his neck and throws him, and they like claws him in the neck. It's just
yeah,
like there's nothing to that to me. I'm just like, okay, like cool. I don't know. It was kind of funny. I don't know. It really is going for something, and I just feel like they had seeds of things that really would be interesting to explore, and they just never really like hammered any of it home
right.
well. So
Like a lot's been made of like when Fallen Kingdom starts, like the dinosaurs are out in the wild and they're reproducing, and we just have to live with it. It's like they don't actually grapple with that idea, which would have been a very radical new idea for this franchise, having like dinosaurs out in the world. And at the end of the day, the stuff I liked the most is when we got most traditional in the second half, and we got to effectively the new version of Jurassic Park, you know. But like
mhm.
in Malta, when we're kind of doing like an action movie and we see like this underground like black market marketplace bazaar for dinosaur sales and stuff, it's like, huh, the seediness of this is interesting, it's appealing, right? And we get a Omar C's character from the first Jurassic World pops up, then it's like, it's like there's something there, but they just don't have the time to dedicate to this. I kind of wish we just didn't do this at all and went back to spend more time at Biosyn, at least commit. But it's kind of all these things at once. Like DeWanda Wise, I thought she was really great, but the problem is like she's basically in a completely different movie half the time because of what she has to do. So like she's like such in the action mold. So it's just kind of a weird amalgamation in this movie, and like he has so much time spent with like Owen and wasn't it Claire? Owen and Claire's like relationship and taking care of the clone kid, and it's like, man, we're just kind of dragging our feet with this. Can we like speed things up? Can we like get to the dinos? It's like
Yeah.
because like it's like seeing Blue out back, with Blue's kid doing nothing but just kind of being there. It's like I don't know, like I feel like it starts kind of slow and then we have this complete interstitial in the middle. It's kind of a lot of things at once. It's a weird one.
Yeah, I mean, the ending, like you said, it tried to be Jurassic Park again, but it tried to be like an Indiana Jones movie in the middle, and family like through lines in there. It just it didn't really work for me. I was happy to see our guy Omar Sy, like I think you had mentioned before, like getting
Mhm.
a nice look with alongside Chris Pratt, which I think is exciting. I think there's some. I think there's some things that you can go in just kind of like enjoy, but overall, I don't know. I felt like the movie's kind of a mess, and
Oh yeah, for sure.
yeah, I don't know. Probably not a movie we're going to be talking about much past today. But you think the franchise moves in total reboot mode, or like go smaller scale?
It's a great question. I mean, it's probably not advisable to go smaller because people show up to these movies because they're big.
All right.
But I mean, you just have to find a way to continue this franchise in a way that's not just keeping the park stuff. Because like the thing about Jurassic World, which was so cool, is like you got to see for a fleeting moment what it would have been like if Jurassic Park opened and was successful and super popular. And like that stuff's like super cool. I love that shit. And then things inevitably go wrong. Like it's a great formula. But I just don't think we can keep doing that formula all and over again. And they've made it pretty clear that Dominion is the end of like this serialized story. So you at least have to reboot it from a plot perspective, even if you kind of just pick things up. I don't know. I think Fallen Kingdom was an attempt to do something very different. I just don't didn't think they did it well enough. Does that mean you don't try something different ever again? I don't know. But I mean, these movies are way too successful. Universal should keep making these because these bankroll so many other things.
Yeah, yeah. I have no idea where they go from here. I'm interested what Pratt wants to do. And you said before you don't think this is Pratt's best role. I was wondering, what do you think is Chris Pratt's best role?
Hmm. I mean, it's got to be Guardians, right? Like
I
Star Lord, I
guess.
feel like is the
Yeah.
best use of his talents to this point. He never became Indiana Jones, long rumored back in the day. He was never Nathan Drake. You had Jurassic and Guardians really blowing up around the same time, and that's what kind of propelled him into the Chris Wars, into the A list, and he's had some other stuff here and there, some more one-off stuff. But I mean, apologies to the Lego Movie, but I feel like it's Guardians kind of easily, right?
Yeah, it's got to be. But Lego Movie's probably number two. Yeah, I think Lego Movie's got to be number two. That's actually a really good call. Chris Wars update. Give me your ranking.
I mean, it's Pine season, bro. It's been Pine season. Go check that out on youtube.com/nostalgia pod. Chris Pine, the best Chris. Chris Evans, not doing too bad in the post Captain America life. And
Not at
Hemsworth
all.
coming up this week in Spiderhead, and then Thor 4 too. So Chris Wars are hot.
Yeah, I actually think it might be Hemsworth right now. I mean, Thor coming up. I mean, Evans doesn't really have. Does he have a new show out? I
He
don't
has The
think so,
Gray
right?
Man coming out soon with Ryan
Oh, that's what
Gosling, the
it
huge
is. Yeah,
blockbuster
yeah,
for
yeah.
Netflix.
All right. Well,
And he,
you
and he
know
had
what?
Knives Out,
Actually,
of course.
June is gonna be spicing up the Chris Wars a little bit. I think it's Pratt is definitely last, like
Yeah,
no
he
doubt.
was last
I
when we
think
talked about it
can't.
last year.
He's actually barely hanging on at this point. So Chris Wars might be a three horse race from now on. But anyways, drop your thoughts on Jurassic World Dominion below.